It reminded me that I took it a little bit too serious when sometimes after we lost a football game in high school, I would be really bummed and I would sit there and go, I can't believe we lost. And my mother would say, but Christopher, 2 billion people in the world don't know that you lost a football game. And I used to say, but Mom, I don't care. I wanted to win. Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop. Welcome to the Mini Safari Podcast, where I'm talking about episode 1, From Zero to Launch. Alan did a great job interviewing me about my early years, and it got me reflecting more and more about the fact of we can't pick the families we are born into, but we can pick the environment of which we want to work and build our skill sets. When we think about our families, I was very lucky in the fact that where many times people are either given a leaping off point, a springboard, or sometimes you're digging yourself out from a hole. In my case, I had a springboard. My parents were great. They gave me a great, loving environment. I got a faith-based education. They really instilled with me the fact that family is important and that having the right perseverance and habits will help you be successful. So I was lucky. Sometimes you aren't that lucky, and sometimes you have to come out of a hole. And coming out of a hole doesn't mean that you can't get to the same level of altitudes that the rest of us do. In fact, a lot of times it becomes the impetus for you to go even further. And we love that because we all love the rags to riches story. We all love to hear about the person who was able to come from nothing and become something. That motivation is important. And with those two situations, springboard or from the hole, that's where you were born into. But choosing the environment from there is really important. And so in my case, I think I stayed focused on what I was doing through my education and with my family, and able to get myself into positions where I was able to do the things that would eventually make me successful. I stayed focused and grounded on a number of things. In fact, it reminded me of a story when I was talking with Alan that in college I used to put a picture up of a truck driver saying that if I ever have failed out of school, at least I could always go back and drive a truck, which is no slight on truck drivers. My family actually had a dump truck business at the time, so that's where I was heading if I couldn't make it through. I knew that I could do it though, but I didn't know if I would be completely successful. I started to realize I was pretty competitive. When I started looking back on my skill sets that I had when I was in college, I was a very competitive individual. I used to play football, basketball, and baseball. Frankly, I could play every sport I could get my hands on if I could, and I loved doing it, and it was fun. It reminded me that I took it a little bit too serious when sometimes after we lost a football game in high school, I would be really bummed, and I would sit there and go, I can't believe we lost. And my mother would say, but Christopher, 2 billion people in the world don't know that you lost a football game. And I used to say, but Mom, I don't care. I wanted to win. That competitiveness, when channeled and put in the right area, is important because it really helps. When I got off to college and I was working in the trenches, either working on deadlines, getting ready to get a paper submitted or a project submitted, or getting ready for an exam, I focused in and stayed completely laser focused on making sure that my studies were the most important part of what I did. So I learned there that my attention to detail and my focus was really good. Now, some would argue right now that my focus and my attention is pretty crappy, but welcome to the world of being entrepreneurial ADD, people. And that's where you have to work on a bunch of things at once. As I finished up my college career and started to work into Anderson, I realized that I had what I felt was a great set of skills, but they were all in the industry. I was a manufacturing engineer. I knew how to measure parts. I was very focused on manufacturing. The skill sets that I thought I was leveraging, the skill sets that I thought I would put down and tell people I was really good at, were pretty much industry focused and not really business acumen focused. As I look back on it now, the skills that I had really helped get me into Anderson and make me successful were perseverance, competitiveness, but also learning how to be a logical process thinker, how to be a large problem solver, how to work in a logical fashion. Those were important skill sets. What I learned mostly at Anderson Consulting was how to work with other people in high-performing, high-achieving areas. And I learned a lot about working with those people because different sets of thoughts and true diversity within teams really help people solve a problem better. And I learned from there that I love seeing small teams solve big problems. And if a team came together and solved a problem, that was really cool. And I hope that you enjoyed the stories that I told as opposed to just listing the skills that I had. Because the skills I had are just a list. But the stories that I tell and the stories that I'm sharing with you hopefully will resonate with you and help you identify what's best for you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day to